I'm Brooke, and this is the moment my husband stopped kissing the HOA ring and finally became our daughter's shield. I found Lily on the back patio, surrounded by shredded fairy wings and crushed painted rocks. Half her enchanted village was already in ruins. The one she'd spent 3 straight days building after school. The one she'd beamed about when the sun hit the glitter just right. Her little shoulders shook like the wind was inside her. Everything about her shook. "Lily, baby, what are you doing?" I kept my voice steady, even though my throat felt like gravel. She froze, turned those red-rimmed eyes up at me. Lashes clumped, cheeks blotchy from the kind of crying that tries so hard to stay quiet it almost breaks you. "I'm fixing it," she whispered. "Fixing what?" "Me." That single word punched the air right out of my lungs. She reached for her tablet with a trembling hand. "I didn't want you to see, Mommy." But Emma sent it to me. I took the tablet. There was photo after photo of our front yard art corner, the one visible from the street because Lily begged to share her magic with the whole block. Colorful rocks spelling out fairy names, recycled bottle castles, easels with half-finished rainbows. It looked exactly like what it was. A 9-year-old with the biggest imagination in Willowbrook Estates lived here. Then I read the caption Deborah Wilkins, our HOA president and self-appointed neighborhood saint, had posted in the Willowbrook Estates families group. Some residents should not be allowed to raise children if they can't maintain basic standards. This is not what we signed up for when we bought here. I've tried gentle reminders. Time for real concern. Lily's voice got smaller. "Grandma Debbie says it's unsafe. She's warning people." I swallowed hard. Warn them about what? Her lip wobbled. "Me?" I scrolled. The comments hit like blades. Board member Melissa, "Perfect lawn, perfect everything," wrote. Honestly scary. "No child's yard should look like a junkyard." "Something's off." Type neighbor Nancy. "She looks unstable in these pics." "Those wild eyes. Has she been tested?" Uncle Brad from 2 streets over. "This kid needs structure." Kids raised in chaos grow up broken. Property values are tanking. Cousin Jessica. Is she medicated? My friend's kid had the same creative issues before diagnosis. Every single one. And Lily had read them all. Melissa again. Poor thing. Basically feral. No rules, no boundaries. What do you expect when mom's an artist? Deborah herself. "I've offered to help for years, but Brooke refuses to admit Lily has issues." That corner is always like this. It's not normal. Something isn't right with her. Not she's creative. Not she's a kid. Just something isn't right. Lily tapped the screen, face down. "They think I'm broken." She said it like a math problem she'd solved in the dark. Deborah said some people shouldn't have kids. "But I'm your kid, so she wishes you didn't have me." I sat beside her on the cold patio stones. "Lily, look at me. There is nothing wrong with you. Not one single glitter-covered thing. Then why does the whole neighborhood say there is?" Because they're cruel. Because adults forget kids can read the group chat. Because Deborah cares more about perfect grass than perfect hearts. Her phone buzzed again, another notification. I caught her wrist before she could smash another painted rock. "Why are you destroying your village?" Her voice cracked. "If I stop making messes, maybe they'll stop hating me." I swear the sky turned red. That's when I knew something had to change. To understand how an HOA president ends up publicly diagnosing a child, you have to understand Deborah Wilkins. Deborah doesn't just dislike visual clutter. She treats anything brighter than beige like it personally insulted her bloodline. I learned this the first time she marched up our walkway when Ryan and I were new here. 3 painted rocks and 1 easel on the lawn. She surveyed it like a crime scene. "Wow," she said with that fake sweet smile. "You live like this?" I laughed, thinking she was kidding. She wasn't. That was red flag 1. Red flag 2 was how fast Ryan apologized for me. Red flag 3 was Melissa, the board's golden child, whose yard looked like a catalog and whose kids were robots in khaki. Every visit, she found new ways to say your child is weird without saying it. She's very imaginative, staring at Lily's fairy village. Our Emma never needed So much stimulation. Sensitive. Scattered. Unstable. Different. Always coded, always pointed, always concerned, dipped in poison. And Deborah ate it up. She loved comparing. Treated it like a morality play. Perfect children versus whatever Lily was. I don't know when she decided Lily's creativity was a covenant violation, but it happened slowly. Lily gets overwhelmed easily. Lily's yard gives me anxiety. Once at a block party when Lily was 6, Deborah bent down and said, "Sweetie, does it feel confusing in your head? Because it looks confusing out here." Lily just blinked. I nearly bit my tongue off. Ryan said nothing. Silence was how he survived growing up under Deborah's thumb. Her obsession wasn't about neatness. It was control. Control she wielded with citations. Control she maintained with guilt. And control she enforced with money. Our money. Being the compliant family came with a price tag. It started small. Could you pitch in for the new entrance sign? Then monthly voluntary contributions to the beautification fund she alone controlled. Ryan set it up temporarily. It became permanent. $26,400 over 3 years. I'm a graphic designer. My whole life is color and chaos. Lily got it from me. Yet that same chaos was funding Deborah's reign. The irony tasted like battery acid. The next notification hit while Lily was washing her hands inside. I didn't breathe while I read it. Ryan is typing. Lily looked up fast. "Dad." I nodded slowly. Ryan hates confrontation. If he's typing in the HOA thread, it's either trash night or the apocalypse. Lily leaned against me, watching that blinking cursor. I slipped the tablet away. She folded into my side. The dots blinked, stopped, started again. Ryan had no idea Lily had seen the post. No idea. She was holding her breath, waiting to see which version of her father would show up. Then the typing bubble vanished. No message. Just silence and a 9-year-old trying not to cry out loud. "Mom," she whispered. I kept my arm around her. To understand what happened next, you have to understand how deep the rot went. The message finally dropped while Lily brushed her teeth. Ryan's text to the private board chat first, then the big group. I didn't breathe. "Deborah, you posted photos of my wife and daughter and invited the entire neighborhood to diagnose a 9-year-old like she's defective. That is not concern. That is cruelty. If you think our child is broken, you don't belong in her life. You've been happy to cash our voluntary checks for years while weaponizing every rule against us. That ends now. If you need funds, ask Melissa. I should have said this years ago. This is the last message you get from me, Ryan." No emojis. No love you. Just finality. He left the group. The silence in the chat was deafening. Then cousin-type neighbor Chris. "Whoa, did he just dip?" Melissa tried. "What is going on?" From down the hall, Lily called. "Can I spit now, or will Deborah post that too?" The fact she joked, it felt like a miracle. "Spit away, baby." She patted in, hair damp, face still puffy. "Did Dad send it?" "Yeah, he sent it." "What did he say?" I thought about showing her. Then imagined her reading defective again. "He told them what they did was wrong. He told them they don't get to talk about you like that. And he told them this was the last time." Lily twisted her pajama hem. "Are they mad?" "Probably." My phone buzzed. "Ryan." I stepped into the hallway. "Is she okay?" His voice urgent. She saw everything. Heavy silence. "I'm almost home." That was it. Just a decision landing like a hammer. Lily was cross-legged on the couch when he walked in, holding herself perfectly still the way scared kids do. He went straight to her and knelt. "You did nothing wrong. Not one glittery thing. What they wrote was wrong. Not you." She breathed out. "Okay. Can I sleep in your room?" "Yeah." "Go pick the biggest pillow." That earned the tiniest smile. She patted off. Ryan opened his laptop at the dining table and started clicking. I didn't ask. Minutes later, he closed it. My phone rang. "Deborah." Ryan gave one nod. "Speakerphone." "What is this tantrum?" she snapped. "You embarrass us in front of the whole neighborhood." Ryan didn't flinch. "It wasn't a tantrum. You publicly shamed our daughter. You're being ridiculous." "You don't mean that." "Stop." That calm, flat voice that ends arguments. You owe us, Howard barked in the background. We raised you, supported you through every citation. You don't just walk away. I already did. Deborah scoffed. Fine. Be dramatic. You're still covering the next special assessment and the entrance lights. No stunned pause. What do you mean no? I mean I'm not paying another dime. Ever. Sharper silence. I could hear Deborah doing the math on her precious fund. You will, she said brittle. Once you calm down. Once you realize how ungrateful. I'm not paying anything ever again. You can't just cut us off. You need to come to your senses. Ryan looked at me. This is me and my senses. You threw away your granddaughter when you posted that. Not me. Deborah went quiet. Then, we'll speak when you're reasonable. No, we won't. He ended the call. Thumb. Finality heavier than any fine they'd ever slapped us with. From the hallway, Dad, which pillow? Ryan's eyes softened. Whichever one you pick, kiddo. He turned to me, voice low. This isn't over. Not after what she did. 2 days later, Deborah made her next move. She posted in the public Willowbrook Estates families group. Thousands of members, local moms, dads, teachers, the whole HOA echo chamber. There was Lily's fairy village again. But the caption was different. I never wanted to post this, but I'm so worried for my granddaughter. I expressed gentle concern about her living conditions and was cut off by my son and his wife. We've supported them financially for years, and this is how they treat us. Please tell me, am I overreacting? Doesn't this look unsafe for a child? My jaw clenched. Gentle concern. Supported them for years. I nearly laughed out loud at the lie. Lily was at school. Ryan at work. I was alone reading strangers tear us apart. This is so sad. Looks like neglect. Some parents are too sensitive when you try to help. Melissa jumped in. Mom, you did everything right. You're just worried for Lily. Of course, she was refreshing like it was Black Friday. Then the killer, if the yard is really like this, honestly, the president has a point. Enough. I screenshotted everything. Texted Ryan, you need to see what your mother just did. He replied instantly, on my way. Door opened 20 minutes later. Where is it? I handed him the phone. He read jaw tight. Supported them financially. He exhaled slow. Okay. She picked the wrong lie today. He sat down, pulled out his phone. I thought he'd rant or call or try to reason. No. He typed one precise, lethal comment under a post. Mom, please stop. You didn't express concern. You publicly insulted Lily, encouraged the neighborhood to diagnose her, and used her photos without permission. Also, you haven't supported us financially. I've paid you and your board $26,400 in excessive fines and voluntary contributions over the last 3 years while you selectively enforced rules against our daughter's art. This is the last time I'll correct your version of events. Do not post our child again. Then he dropped the screenshots, the original thread where Deborah and her cheerleaders called Lily unstable, feral, defective, plus every bank transfer labeled HOA beautification, Wilkins. Every hair on my arm stood up. The neighborhood noticed. Comments flipped faster than a homeowner spotting a code violation on their own lawn. Wait, what? That's not concern. That's straight up bullying. I didn't see these before. This changes everything. Posting a child's art to shame her is not okay. Melissa tried damage control. This is being taken out of context. We were joking. Joking about a 9-year-old needing medication. I'm with Ryan. Don't drag a kid into HOA drama. Deborah tried to claw it back. Ryan is lying. He's manipulated. Brooke turned him against the board. Then, we will be contacting our attorney about enforcement actions. Ryan barked a humorless laugh when I read it to him. Sure, let's show the judge the post where you called our daughter unstable. That'll go great in court. Within minutes, the comment section went graveyard quiet. Deborah stopped replying. The post faded, but the damage to her reputation was permanent. Until 7:14 that evening. The doorbell rang. Lily was sketching on the couch. Ryan and I froze. We knew who it was. Ryan opened the door halfway. Deborah and Howard stood there, faces tight with PR damage control. Ryan, Deborah said, voice clipped. We need to talk. This online nonsense has gone far enough. We can move past this. You humiliated our daughter. We're not moving past anything." Deborah scoffed. "I posted because I was worried, and instead of thanking me, you cut us off. You're acting like lunatics. Mom, you lied again. You twisted what happened again. And you dragged Lily into it again." Howard stepped forward. "You owe us a conversation. You owe us respect. I don't owe you anything." Deborah went for the full narcissistic collapse. "We will speak when you come to your senses. There won't be a next time." Lily peeked around the corner, watching her father torch 3 generations of HOA conditioning. "Ryan," Deborah tried, voice cracking. "You're choosing her over us." He answered instantly. "Yes. And I should have done it a long time ago." He shut the door. No slam. Just a quiet end to a decade-long performance. And I could feel something enormous shifting. Not in Deborah. In us. In our home. In Lily's world. For the first time, the air felt breathable. 6 months later, the silence is still holding. Deborah and Howard never contacted us again. Melissa tried once. She called to say, "Mom and Dad expect you to resume the contributions. The board is struggling." Ryan said, "That's your problem now," and hung up. She didn't try again. We only hear updates through the Willowbrook grapevine, which has a very long memory. Deborah's concerned grandma post backfired spectacularly. People still whisper at the mailbox. They avoid her at the annual HOA picnic. Someone told me she worked the school fair booth completely alone because no one would share a table. Then the kicker, they had to sell their McMansion, downsize to a smaller place farther out where the HOA rules are supposedly less strict. Actions, consequences, all that jazz. Meanwhile, our life is better than I ever imagined. All the money Ryan used to send her stays with us now. We took Lily on her first real vacation to the beach, where she built fairy villages in the sand, and nobody wrote a single citation. We visit my parents more. Turns out there's a lot more emotional room when you're not managing other people's grass-length expectations. Lily draws almost every day. She told me last week she might want to be an artist when she grows up. I told her she already is. The fairy village is back, bigger, brighter, right in the front yard where it belongs. And every time a new neighbor drives by and smiles instead of scowling, I feel that sweet, dark satisfaction settle in my chest. But let me take you back to the weeks right after the door slammed. Because the real show happened in the days that followed. The HOA board called an emergency meeting. Deborah tried to spin it as protecting property values. Ryan showed up with printed screenshots and bank statements. He didn't raise his voice. He just laid the receipts on the table like a winning poker hand. $26, $400. Every dime funneled into Deborah's personal projects while she fined us for glitter. Any other board member want to explain that? The room went dead silent. Melissa tried the "it was for the community" line. Ryan smiled that cold smile. Then why does the community fund have 0 paper trail and Deborah's new patio furniture showed up the same week? 2 other board members resigned on the spot. The vote to remove Deborah as president passed 7-2. She sat there in her perfect beige blazer, face turning the color of overwatered lawn, while the group chat she once ruled exploded with people finally saying what they'd whispered for years. She's been bullying families for decades. My kid's basketball hoop was visual clutter too, until I paid up. This is why nobody likes HOAs. Deborah tried one last power play. She filed a formal complaint with the county, claiming Ryan's exposure post was defamation. The lawyer we hired, cheap because half the neighborhood suddenly wanted to help, sent her attorney the entire comment thread, plus Lily's therapist, note confirming the emotional damage. The suit died before it left the mailbox. Then came a neighborhood petition. 37 signatures asking the county to investigate selective enforcement. Deborah's husband, Howard, started parking his truck blocks away so people wouldn't see the for sale sign going up. Lily never saw any of that. We kept her shielded, but she felt the shift. One afternoon, she came inside holding a new painting, A bright house with a rainbow yard and a tiny figure labeled Mommy standing next to Daddy, who had a big shield. "No more mean ladies," she said. I hugged her so tight the paint got on my shirt. "No more mean ladies, baby." Ryan walked in right then, saw the painting, and for the first time in months his shoulders weren't carrying the weight of every citation ever written. He looked at me over Lily's head and mouth. Worth it. The dark humor of it all still hits me at night. Deborah spent years preaching community standards while running the community like her personal ATM. She called my daughter feral, while her own yard had plastic pink flamingos hidden behind the garage because even she couldn't follow her own rules. The same woman who diagnosed a child's joy as a threat now lives in a cookie-cutter rental where nobody knows her name. And us? We're the family everyone waves at now. The one with the yard that makes kids slow down on their bikes and point. Look, Mom, fairies. Sometimes protecting your child means burning the bridge the HOA spent years trying to charge you tolls to cross. And sometimes the sweetest sound in the world is the quiet click of a front door shutting on a bully who finally ran out of rules to hide behind. But the story isn't quite over yet. Because 2 weeks after Deborah's house sold, something happened that made the whole neighborhood realize just how deep the rot had gone. A new family moved into her old place. A young couple with a toddler who loved chalk on the driveway. The new HOA president, sweet retired teacher who actually likes kids, sent them a welcome basket instead of a citation. The toddler drew a giant rainbow right on the sidewalk. Nobody complained. In fact, 3 other families joined in. The group chat filled with photos of colorful driveways and laughing kids. One mom posted, "Remember when Deborah would have fined us for this? Thank God that era is over." Ryan read it out loud at dinner. Lily grinned, so wide her missing tooth showed. "See, my village started it." And she was right. One little girl's glittery rebellion toppled an empire built on beige and fear. The final nail came at the annual HOA meeting nobody expected to be dramatic. The new president stood up and read a short statement. Effective immediately, all aesthetic violation fines for children's play areas under age 12 are suspended. Creativity is not clutter. The room actually applauded. Deborah wasn't there. She'd already moved, but Melissa showed up trying to look unbothered. She lasted 12 minutes before someone asked, "Hey, whatever happened to that $26,000 fund?" Melissa turned the color of her overpruned roses and left early. Ryan and I sat in the back, row holding hands like teenagers. Lily was at home with my parents, building a new village in the living room because nobody was going to stop her anymore. After the meeting, a dozen neighbors came up to us. "I'm so sorry we didn't speak up sooner. Your daughter's art is beautiful." We were scared of Deborah too. One dad even admitted he'd paid extra donations for his son's treehouse. The confessions poured out like water from a broken sprinkler. Turns out we weren't the only ones. Deborah had been running a quiet extortion racket for years. Selective enforcement for anyone who dared to let their kids be kids. The dark comedy of it hit hardest when we drove past her old house the next weekend. The new owners had kept Lily's fairy village idea. They'd added their own painted rocks spelling "Welcome." A little sign in the grass read "Creativity Zone, no citations allowed." Ryan laughed so hard he had to pull over. "Look what you started, Brooke." "No," I said. "Look what Lily started." 6 months later, the grapevine brought one last delicious update. Deborah had tried to join the HOA in her new development. They rejected her application after someone recognized her from the viral group chat screenshots that somehow made their way onto a local news Facebook page titled, "HOA Karen Goes Too Far." The headline, "Neighborhood President Publicly Shames Child's Art. Gets Exposed for $26,000 Extortion." The article didn't name us, but everyone knew. Deborah's new neighbors apparently started a group chat of their own warning people about her before she even unpacked. Lily never asked about Deborah again. One night she crawled in a bed between us and said, "I don't need to fix me anymore." The neighborhood fixed itself, out of the mouths of babes. But the real victory wasn't the move or the headlines. It was the day Lily came home from school and announced she'd entered her fairy village photo in the county art fair. No fear. No hiding. Just pure 9-year-old pride. When the judge, a local teacher who'd seen the story, gave her first place and said, "This is exactly the kind of creativity our communities need," Lily looked straight at me and Ryan and whispered, "See, even grown-ups can learn." We framed that ribbon right next to the screenshot Ryan had printed, the one of Deborah's original post with a caption crossed out in red marker and the words "Game over, Karen" written underneath. It hangs in the hallway where every visitor sees it. Some laugh. Some nod knowingly. A few still look nervous, like they're waiting for a citation that will never come. The air in Willowbrook Estates feels different now. Lawns are still mowed, but there are chalk drawings on sidewalks. Driveways have hopscotch grids. Backyards have forts. And every time I see a kid outside painting rocks or building fairy castles, I feel that deep, satisfying burn of justice done right. Deborah thought she could control the neighborhood by controlling the children. She forgot that children grow up. And sometimes they grow up to expose the adults who try to shrink them. Ryan and I still pay HOA fees. We just pay the new, honest ones. No extra voluntary nonsense. No more midnight stress about whether Lily's latest masterpiece will cost us another $1,000. The money we saved went straight into a college fund label for the girl who taught the whole block how to play again. Sometimes at night, I scroll back through that old group chat just to remind myself how close we came. The comments are still there, frozen in digital amber. But now they're buried under hundreds of new posts. Kids' art shows, block parties with no dress code, families thanking Ryan for finally saying what we all wanted to. One mom even started a petition to rename the beautification fund the Lily Creativity Fund. It passed unanimously. Deborah probably checks it from her new beige rental. I hope she does. I hope every time she sees a photo of a colorful yard, she remembers the day a 9-year-old's glitter brought down her empire. Because that's the best part of this whole saga. The villain didn't just lose. She became the cautionary tale every new HOA board member gets warned about on day one. Don't pull a Deborah. And Lily? She's outside right now, adding a new tower to her village. The sun is hitting the glitter exactly right. No one is watching with a clipboard. No one is calculating fines. Just a little girl, a big imagination, and a neighborhood finally smart enough to let her shine. The last chapter nobody saw coming happened 3 weeks ago. Deborah's real estate agent called Ryan out of the blue. Apparently the new buyers in her old house wanted to buy the fairy village blueprints Lily had drawn up for the art fair. They offered to pay for the design and even named the corner Lily's Legacy Park. Ryan forwarded the email to me with one line, "Your move, Mom." I laughed until I cried. Lily's response when we told her? Tell them yes, but only if they promise no beige. We said yes. The check arrived yesterday. It went straight into Lily's art supply fund. Deborah's old house now has a permanent colorful corner dedicated to the girl she tried to erase. The irony is so thick you could paint with it. I still catch myself smiling at random moments. Like when I drive past the entrance sign and see the new Creativity Welcome banner the board voted in. Or when Melissa waves at me now, awkward, forced, but she waves. The power flipped so completely that the woman who once ruled with an iron clipboard now crosses the street to avoid eye contact. Black humor at its finest. Ryan has changed too. The man who once apologized for our mess now proudly posts Lily's latest creations in the group chat himself. Last week he captioned one, "Proud dad of the kid who reminded us all why we moved here in the first place." 37 likes in 10 minutes. Deborah's old cheerleaders stayed silent. Lily sleeps with her first place ribbon pinned to her pillow. She says it keeps the bad dreams away, the ones where everyone calls her broken. Those dreams stopped months ago, but the ribbon stays. A reminder that sometimes the loudest voices are the emptiest. And me? I'm back at my drafting table designing a new line of Rebel Yard stickers for anyone who wants to fight their own HOA sales or through the roof in Willowbrook. Turns out a lot of families were just waiting for permission to breathe. The storyteller in me knows the lesson here is simple. Never underestimate a child's sparkle or a parent's breaking point. Deborah thought the rules were her armor. She forgot armor doesn't protect you when the whole neighborhood finally sees the bully underneath. So if you're watching this and your HOA Karen is watching your kids' joy like it's a crime, keep screenshots. Keep receipts. And when the moment comes, don't just close the door. Let the whole block hear it click. Because the sweetest justice isn't revenge. It's a 9-year-old painting in the sunshine while the woman who tried to stop her packs boxes in a smaller house far away. Thanks for listening to this HOA nightmare turned fairy tale. If it gave you even one hell yes moment, smash that like button, share it with every neighbor who's ever been fined for happiness, and subscribe for more stories about families who finally chose themselves over stupid rules. Sometimes protecting your child means burning the bridge the HOA spent years tolling you to cross. And sometimes the bridge burns so beautifully the whole neighborhood throws a party on the ashes. See you in the next one, where the grass is green, the kids are loud, and the Karens are finally quiet.